Hello and welcome to the Coal Authority podcast. The Coal Authority exists to make a better future for people and the environment in mining areas. We carry out vital work to keep people, drinking water and the environment safe from the legacy impacts of our mining heritage. These podcasts are intended to offer some insight into the work that we do and why we do it, and we hope that you will find them interesting, and we would welcome any suggestions for content for future podcasts as these series grow. Without further ado, let's get into the next episode. Thank you.
Hello and a very warm welcome to our next episode of our Confidence in the Coalfields podcast series, a podcast where we bring industry professionals together to discuss our collaborative working and the value we bring to those involved in the buying or selling of property or land for development in coalfield areas. In this episode today, I'm delighted and very excited to be joined by Rachel McCure from Scottish Enterprise, someone who's travelled solo to Nepal, which is something completely out of her comfort zone, and quickly adapted to chaotic traffic and walking on the roads. Wow, Rachel, what an introduction. Welcome.
Hello, hi Lisa. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I'm equally delighted to be joined by Matt Fox, our Principal Advisory Services Manager for Mine Heat, and equally excited to hear if Matt has any solo travelling stories as well. Morning, Matt.
Morning, Lisa.
So
No solo travelling stories from me, unfortunately. It's all related to the school run.
Okay, so Rachel, tell us a bit more about your solo trip. I'm intrigued to hear about this.
Well, I wouldn't say it was too solo, but it was a first time for myself traveling to Nepal. It was actually for a friend's wedding. So one of my good friends from back at university days got married out there, and I had to travel the journey all the way from Edinburgh to Kathmandu on my own, which was a journey. And then once landing in the airport, if anyone's listening on the call, the experience coming out the airport and hitting the traffic in Nepal for the first time after no prior research is definitely a shock to the system. It was an incredible experience, though.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'll take my hat off to you for that. Did you have a great trip while you're out there for the wedding?
Yes, absolutely. I was there for about just only a week really, but had the wedding, which was full-on traditional wedding where, saw the bride the day before, and then the day was in our kind of lehengas and saris that we got to wear, and it was full-on the different kind of traditional kind of wedding celebrations. It's not just like what we would experience where you have that one ceremony. It was like lots of little ones throughout the day. So yeah, that was amazing. And of course, the food was just incredible. I can't ever forget it.
Oh wow, so, sounds awesome. The only sort of solo trip I did was on a train in the UK. I was trying to get to Brighton, and I'm not great with the underground, and they ended up at Luton Airport.
Oh wow.
which wasn't my best situation to be in. So absolute credit to you, and well done for doing that and getting outside your comfort zone. And these things are sent to testers, aren't they?
Yes, I definitely, one of these things, I did grow as a person. You're making decisions on your own, you're navigating airports, you're figuring out how to get a taxi without getting, scammed. And then you're like, right, where's the hotel? All these kind of simple things that you kind of take for granted that's actually a lot harder when you're out of your comfort. But that wasn't obviously the main trip. You get through that and you see the wedding celebrations, and then on the side of that we got to go ended up going up a cable car up and saw the Himalayas, and you could see Mount Everest in a very, very distance, like the peak of it. It was such a clear day, but I felt bad for a friend because a couple of weeks before, she had gone trekking, and for the full week climbing a certain elevation, and then I meet up with her and we get a cable car up the same elevation, within 15 minutes, and she spent, a week and a half, 2 weeks trekking it. So I think it was just a bit of a slap in the face to her a little bit that we just managed to get up that quickly, up the same height. But yeah, that was quite emotional actually, seeing, the Himalayas for real. Like, wow, they're actually there, they're so vast.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, what an incredible experience. I bet you thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll start rubbing it in now. We'll stop talking about it. I could talk about it for ages.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you. So Rachel, tell us a bit more about your career history so far and what brought you to working for Scottish Enterprise.
Yeah, so I graduated from the University of Edinburgh with a degree in ecological and environmental science. So through that course, I did my dissertation on, I can't remember the exact title, but along the lines of how many wind turbines would be needed to power all the electric cars in Edinburgh.
Oh,
So
wow.
from 2020, 2030, and 2050. So say by 2050, all the cars in Edinburgh would be electric. And then I would be like, right, how many wind turbines do we need to power them, and where would these wind turbines go? So at that point, my interest in energy renewables was sparked, and that's definitely where I wanted to carry my career. So then after that, I worked for a small company looking at supporting companies on their net zero projects. So it could be any type of project, whether that's they're calculating their carbon footprint. It could be writing their own environmental kind of policy. Any energy saving tips, stuff like that. Just their general operations of their company. And also, as a young graduate, I really struggled. Well, anybody would struggle to get on the career ladder, especially in the environmental sector. So through this job as well, I ran an environmental placement programme, which was supported by the Scottish Government to help graduates for graduates to work with companies for about 12 weeks to work on these environmental projects. So at the end of the day, the company got someone new, fresh in, with new kind of exciting ideas, and it could be short term if they didn't really need anyone for the longer term, and then the graduate got this kind of experience and their foot on the career ladder as well. So it was a win-win for everybody. So after that, I worked there for a good couple of years, and then got into Scottish Enterprise, where I'm now an energy transition specialist in the clean heat team. So I've been here for about 2 years.
Fantastic. And wow, what an incredible career history you've had there. I'm really intrigued to know what the number is for how many wind turbines.
I was worried you were going to ask me that one. To be honest, I don't think it was that many.
Really?
I need to think back, because my project would have been, it had to be, it was a PhD project at the end of the day, so you probably needed about 3-4 years of proper research. I had a year. So what I kind of shortcutted it and was like, right, I'm going to pick the biggest wind turbines as possible. How many do we need of those? And I think it was like 106 or something like that to power all the electric cars in Edinburgh. So it wasn't as many as I thought, but as part of the dissertation as well, I had to use kind of computer models and decide where I was going to place them around Edinburgh. And I ended up placing them in the Pentlands in Edinburgh. So I don't know if anyone's listening if you know where the Pentlands are, but you wouldn't want it. Nobody would really want to put wind turbines there, just because it is quite a beautiful natural place. So you would obviously have the social issues, but it was just kind of give you an idea of this is how the space that they would take, and how many that we would need. So yeah, it was really interesting, because you're touching on real life project here. This is something that is probably getting looked at right now in a lot more depth than my little graduate brain was doing.
Sounds really interesting, I have to say.
It was.
So, tell us a bit more now about your role and the main function of Scottish Enterprise.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. So like I said before, I'm an energy transition specialist in the clean heat team. So clean heat is um, anything from heat pumps, your heat networks, energy efficiency. It could be grid infrastructure. It could be battery storage, digital technology, and geothermal energy, which probably resonates with a lot of people listening today. Um, so I lead on energy efficiency, digital technology, and geothermal energy within the team, but we're all kind of supportive of each other and kind of cross over quite a lot of the time. And our role is to really build up the supply chain and manufacturing capabilities in Scotland. In the end, would create economic growth and lots of jobs. So yeah, that's the focus of the team. Um, Within Scottish Enterprise, so we're Scotland's national economic development agency. So our strategic ambition is to really drive up levels of innovation, internalisation, and investment in Scotland. And the idea is to really build a fair, green, and growing economy. Um, we're finding that Scotland really needs more businesses with growth potential and ambition to export and innovate. And at Scottish Enterprise, we are applying our strong track record and experience to tackle these issues and to deliver our purpose. And our purpose is to enable these businesses to innovate and scale to transform the economy. And to do this, we work with partners all across industry, academia, and government to really, fully realize the potential for these companies to grow and kind of build clusters of scale as well.
Absolutely. And I think like the global shift to net zero is creating vast opportunities and Scotland is well positioned, isn't it, to take that kind of leadership role in sectors like offshore wind and green hydrogen productions to accelerate the energy transition and to maximize its economic benefits. So tell us a bit more about the work that you're getting involved in with Matt and how you guys started working together.
Yeah, definitely. So through the Clean Heat team, like I said, I lead on geothermal energy, and that could range from mine water geothermal to deep geothermal. And obviously, Coal Authority have a massive role in mine water geothermal. So Matt and I initially touched base, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, on the development of a project with local authorities. So you might already be aware, Lisa, but local authorities are developing or developed some of them their local heat energy efficiency strategies, which is super exciting place to be in Scotland, where the local authorities have to have heat networks zoned in in each of their local authorities, and they need to have figured out how they're going to what the energy source is going to be for these heat networks. So geothermal energy can be a massive resource for them. It's got huge numbers of benefits that Matt and I can talk about in a sec. But the local authorities, they're not experts on geothermal. They've got all these other kind of things to think about. So they are leaning on the likes of myself and Coal Authority to kind of keep them right and to kind of help them understand, what are the environmental factors and benefits of this, what are the flow rate of the water, how much heat can they get out the ground, what are the geological factors, how much will drilling cost, things like that. Can they access the mines, what's the history there, the legacy. So that's where Coal Authority have a massive role, and then myself, I come in with that company mind, where I've got the the industry knowledge. I know companies that are out there who can obviously help and work closer with the local authorities. We've got the supply chain there. So it's kind of a match made in heaven there. You know, Matt and I can really, or the Coal Authority and Scottish Enterprise can really work well together in that sense.
Fantastic. And Matt, the coalfields create such a vast opportunity, providing heat for homes and businesses, while also delivering, net zero carbon and levelling up outcomes for communities. So tell us a bit more about the opportunity for mine water heat and how we're able to utilise this unique method from the coalfields.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It is a really exciting opportunity, and it exists across the central belt of Scotland. So you've got some really dense population centres there. I think we estimate that around 25% of homes and businesses in this area will sit above some abandoned coal mines that could potentially be utilised. But I think another important thing to note is this is not just for heat. Mine water could be used as a source of industrial cooling as well, so that could present some really interesting opportunities for both new and existing businesses. But what we've mainly been doing is we've mainly been working with local authorities. They reach out to us and they want to know like what opportunity is in their area. So typically they'll send us a red line boundary saying, well, we're looking to potentially develop this into a new development for residential or a business park. And then we'll say, well, yes, this has got all the necessary prerequisites that you would need for having the mine water integrated into a heating system. But the opportunity could take a number of forms. You could be looking at boreholes into mine workings. You could be looking at utilising an existing shaft that's not been treated or filled yet. It could be a mine water discharge, so where mine water is naturally working its way into the watercourses through gravity, or it could be one of our existing mine water treatment schemes. So we've done some work with Fife Council, and Fife are happy for me to put this out there. We created them an opportunity map, and what this map tell them was where the really good mine workings were, but then it also overlaid on top of that where the land at the surface had funding attached to it. So this meant that if you had the necessary underground elements, there was funding available at the surface through either the what was it called, the Brownfield Regeneration Trust or the settlement boundaries. And if you had one of those opportunities above the mine workings, you could get the project funded. So that's a really exciting piece of work that we've done for Fife Council, and then we're also looking to do that for other local authorities across Scotland.
Excellent. And if people out there kind of wanted to get in touch, or what are the kind of initial stages of accessing the heat throughout the coalfields? What's the process that's involved?
The best place to start is have a look on our website. Yeah, Lisa, so if you have a look on our Coal Authority Interactive Viewer on the Mine Heat tab, you'll get a number of options there. One of the options is you can turn on the underground working extent, which will show you where the mine workings are, and then you can also turn on the surface heat demand, so you can see where the areas of high heat demand marry up with the areas of underground workings. And if you're in one of those zones, it gives you a real good indication that mine water could be integrated into a project.
Absolutely. And then there's also the opportunity of the funding element as well. And is that something that we would support customers with? We would recommend if there's funding in that particular area available for that scheme.
We try to keep on top of the current funding streams, and then yes, we have to advise our potential client which one would be the best to pursue for the project. and this can be different depending on if it is a residential style project. There are funding streams available for that. But if it's a local authority driven one, and the intention is to decarbonise some local authority owned buildings, then there are separate funding streams available for those as well. But there is some overlap between the two, where you could have a joint project between residential and heating some existing buildings. And things such as leisure centres as well. We're in conversation with local authorities, and that's one of the pressures at the minute. The leisure centres have got huge heating demands, and they're closing down all the time. So if we're able to provide them with a source of low carbon heat and keep their running costs down, it's a real positive for everyone involved.
Absolutely. And there was I know you mentioned about the cooling. There was is it the Lanchester wines that use the cooling methods from the coalfields to keep the wine cool?
That's right. This one is in Gateshead in the northeast of England. They have a borehole-based project where they use mine water to keep the wine cellars at a consistent year-round temperature, which is a really exciting project.
Yeah, definitely. It just really goes to show the extent of the opportunity, doesn't it? You can use it for heating, for cooling, for storage. The coalfields there's masses of opportunity there for lots of different ways of doing things, I guess is what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah, I
That's
think
right.
and sorry, Matt, I was going to say as well, in Edinburgh we've got an kind of a European project currently underway, led by Town Rock Energy, who are based in Edinburgh, and it's called the Edinburgh Geobattery, and it's they're seeking to understand the feasibility of capturing waste heat from data centres, which we all know is such a huge issue as well. Capturing this heat from a data centre and redirecting it towards homes using abandoned mine workings currently below Edinburgh. And then, yeah, the heat in these centres is stored in the mine workings. And once this project's complete, it'll act kind of as a blueprint to be carried out in other areas. So if you do have a data centre nearby and a town or a city, this heat can be stored in the mine workings and put through a heat network in due course, which is exactly the answers what we're looking for, all about thermal storage and capturing heat.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Rachel. And if anyone wanted to get in touch with yourselves, how do people do that?
Yep. So Scottish Enterprise offers a lot of different types of support available, whether that's through funding or through different network organisations or through industry contacts. Just to kind of highlight on the podcast, if somebody wants kind of support for geothermal projects, we have the Glasgow Observatory, managed by British Geological Survey, which includes 12 boreholes and about 319 sensors to really help understand the heat in the abandoned mines, and it's there to test kind of your own kind of technology for research. But this can be used by academia and industry, and it's not just kind of for research on its own. We've also got the Mine Water Geothermal Resource Atlas for Scotland. This was developed to identify optimal locations across Scotland for mine water geothermal development per local authority. So you can access that online. That was developed by David Walls, who's currently at Town Rock Energy through the PhD, but it's publicly accessible. And we've got the Scottish Government heat map as well, which we touched on. So that's kind of providing lots of different data sources together. It's free to access, and you can kind of understand the heat demand and heat network locations. So that could expand on the work that Matt did with Fife Council as well. In terms of within Scottish Enterprise, within the Clean Heat team, about support available, probably about 3 things to highlight. We've got currently active the Clean Heat Expert Support Programme. So this is Pan-Scotland service, so provided by Scottish Enterprise, Highlands and Islands Enterprise and South of Scotland Enterprise agencies. And this is all about for companies who wish to grow and move into the emerging clean heat sector. So, if you are a company who's interested in mine water geothermal, but you're not quite sure how to get into it, how to diversify, where to go, who to speak to, the types of projects to get involved in, this free expert support is ideal for you. It's 3 days consultancy support delivered by EP Consult Energies Limited, and you're at the end of it, you're given this kind of short report to kind of highlight areas that you can get into. Just Google Clean Heat Expert Support Programme Scottish Enterprise, and then the website will come up, and you just submit your short application form or get in touch with us and we can speak to you about it in a little bit more detail. The second thing I wanted to highlight is heat source. So this is delivered by Built Environment Smarter Transformation, funded by Scottish Enterprise, Highlands and Islands and South of Scotland Enterprise. And it's set up to be this collaborative knowledge hub and a source of information and connections and events to bring companies together across different topics. So you are covering the likes of heat pumps, heat networks, energy efficiency, and then there's also a dedicated geothermal page, geothermal companies within this who are attending events, sharing their knowledge, and it's just, like I said, a collaborative hub to bring everybody together. And then the third one level of support I wanted to mention was the Green Heat Innovation Support Programme. So this was launched back in 2022, and it's a £17.6 million programme with funding from Scottish Government for companies in Scotland until 2025. And it's funding for research and development grants, also capital support grants as well, and then there's also can-do calls for specific areas of technology as well. So that's again available on our website, and you can put in your application form for that. The research and development grants is always on, so they are currently available if you want to have a look at that as well, or contact me for further information.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Rachel. That's all really helpful. And
a lot there.
No, it's brilliant, and I know a lot of people will be really interested in all of that. And there's a lot of help. There's a lot of collaborative working, obviously, between the Coal Authority and Scottish Enterprise, and we're really keen to support and help customers as much as we can. So if anyone did want to get in touch with the Coal Authority, they can contact customer service at coal.gov.uk, and we can put you in touch with the Mine Heat team as well. Well, thank you to both of you. Mine heat is such a fascinating topic, and I think we'll all agree the coalfields offer an abundance of opportunities and something we will all continue to champion. And I'm really looking forward to following up with you both in the coming months. So finally, a huge thank you to those listening in. Please keep your eyes peeled for further episodes landing soon. And if you've missed any of our other episodes, these are all available to listen to via our website, groundstability.com, or you can subscribe and listen through our YouTube channel as well. So until next time, thank you for listening and take care.
So we hope you found that podcast interesting and insightful, as we're showing it on our social media channels. If you have any questions or further comments or any suggestions for future podcasts, we'd be really pleased to hear from you. So don't be afraid to get in touch. And we look forward to spending some time with you next time. Thank you.